Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Fed Up, your no BS nutrition podcast. I'm your host, Kayla Marie, certified personal trainer and nutrition specialist, working with clients since 2014. After swimming up diet culture's bullshit stream for so many years, I am fed the absolute up with how miserable it's making people feel when we are supposed to be getting healthier. This podcast is here to help you gain your sanity back so you can stop yo-yoing once and for all and finally learn how to trust yourself so you can enjoy food again without fear or shame while still getting to your health goals. My aim is to teach you how to detect the BS in not just the food and diet industries, but in all realms of life, because I know that, like me, we are all just a little fed up. So without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode. Thanks so much for being here. And if you've been enjoying my podcast, please leave me a nice 5-star review wherever you are listening from. I'd appreciate it. But today I wanted to talk about something that is a typical struggle that I've heard over the past decade of being a trainer, where we do not live our lives in isolation. And I'm going to be talking about when your partner is not on board with your health goals, or you are embarking on this health journey and you're living with people that are not, or you hang out with a lot of friends, or you have a close friend or coworkers, whatever it may be, the relationships in your life may or may not be so conducive to the changes you're trying to make. And what the hell we're to do about that. And a lot of time what I hear from people is, well, my husband or my wife, my partner, whoever, I really want to get up in the morning and go work out or go to the gym really early, but they just pull me back into bed and they want to sleep in, or they hit my snooze alarm, and whatever it may be. I'm trying to be better at eating at home and eating healthfully, but then my partner wants to order takeout, or they want to go out to eat all the time, and I'm dragged back to what they're doing. Or my coworkers always go out to eat for lunch, or they always bring in a bunch of cupcakes, blah, blah, blah. These are real life situations that makes it very difficult for us to embark on a health journey when we're surrounded by people who are not also embarking on that journey. I am from a family that was not super we were naturally active in the sense of we had horses, we were running around and whatnot. We found ways to be active naturally, but I wasn't around a family who really prioritized health. And I found it on my own as a young adult. But a lot of times I got lucky in finding it young. And a lot of times people don't get that lucky, and they end up living decades and decades and decades, maybe thinking about making a change, but it's a lot harder than just yourself, right? Because you can't control other people. So let's talk about it today. What the hell are we supposed to do if we're trying to work out, we're trying to eat better, we're trying to make changes, but the people around us, love them to death, they're not helping, right? 3 things I want to go over today. The first and the second and the third all have to do with your behavior, your actions, your mindset, not actually getting the people to do what you want them to do, right? This is not about how do we get your partner to go to the gym. I'm sorry, it's just not. This is much more about how do you deal with this? And I will talk about how we can invite them or include them, but it is up to you and you alone to take control of your health regardless of what other people are doing, and you cannot control other people. So I'm going to leave that disclaimer up in front and center. Number 1, I want you to tame your frustration. Okay? I know you're frustrated at yourself for waiting so long. I know you're not frustrated at said other person because you had a wake-up call, or you had this epiphany, or you had this resolution, and they didn't, right? But you think they did. It's just one of those things that's like, well, I'm going through this. How could you not see this at all, right? We tend to project what's in our brains on everybody else around us. That's just what we do as humans. You need to tame your frustration so that there's no even like a minuscule amount of resentment toward your partner, towards your family, towards your friends for quote unquote preventing you from doing what you should be doing. Because we are not going to blame anybody else. The first and foremost thing you need to do is take full accountability for your own actions. And remember that shaming, guilt tripping, bribing, it backfires. And I've heard a lot of parents try to bribe or, make working out part of their chores and all these other type of parameters that people put up to try to encourage their family to be active. The more control and restriction and the frustration and resentment that overflows from that, the more that you do that, the worse it's going to get. So I need you to tame it. I need you to pull back, and I need you to get rid of the shaming and the guilt tripping and the bribing. I need you to stop trying to get other people to do what you think they should be doing. Because remember, you just started too, right? Or you are having just as hard of a time eating better, moving more, whatever your goal is in health and fitness, than they are. And you just have to have a little compassion for that, because the opposite doesn't work. So the second thing I want you to do is you can find ways to include them, invite them, whatever it may be that you are trying to accomplish, but you have to do so with zero expectations, zero judgment. People do like to be invited every time, even when the answer is no. Even when you know they're going to say no, invite them anyway, but never make a big deal out of that invitation or out of their answer. That's another thing, is they can say no every time. I want you to be so neutral about it. It kills ya, all right? I need you to tame all of that frustration and be so neutral and non-judgmental about it, because again, you're staying in your own lane, you're putting on the blinders on, and you are responsible for you, all righty? And even if you are responsible for other people, say you do the grocery shopping, you do the X, Y, and Z, I need you to still take a step back and acknowledge everyone's free will, including your own. And the third thing that I really have, all of this kind of flows together. Number one, tame your frustration. Number two, find ways to include them without that frustration. And number three, I need you to hold up your own boundaries and follow the F through. I don't want to hear about how they're making you miss the gym, or so-and-so wants to order takeout, so you oblige. You are responsible for you. And if you've put up boundaries for yourself or for your family, you need to follow through with those boundaries. That doesn't mean inhibiting on other people's free will. That means if you've decided you're not going to be ordering takeout except for on Fridays or except for on Mondays or whatever the day is that you decide, don't order takeout. And you maybe need to voice these boundaries or write them down or get other people on board. And if they're not on board, then you just need to hold that boundary for yourself. But if you are kind of a leader in your home, hopefully you do have some influence, but it is up to you to follow through and keep those boundaries, because everyone will be trying to break them. Alrighty? And you will let them break them. Again, zero judgment, zero frustration, zero resentment when so-and-so goes and eats Oreos and you are saying to yourself, I'm no longer snacking mindlessly and I've already had my dinner. I'm not hungry. I just want the Oreos because I see my daughter eating the Oreos. Don't say anything about the Oreos. Leave the room. Do whatever you have to do to prevent yourself from going over there, making a snarky comment, and then taking a couple Oreos because she tempted you with them. Okay, we're not doing that. We're not playing victim. We're not blaming anybody. We are taking full responsibility for ourselves. And this also means saying no to your friends. If they want to go out all the time and you're trying to restrict that, or you're trying to limit, okay, I'm only going to go out once a week instead of 4 times a week. Or, tonight I really plan to make a healthy dinner for my family and I shouldn't just grab pizza. So if you make these, boundaries for yourself, you set up some structure or some, quote unquote rules that are somewhat flexible. All right. Don't get too crazy here. If you've listened to any of the previous episodes, we do not do full on restriction and, that type of behavior. But if you do have health goals, sometimes you're going to have to quote unquote restrict yourself. You're going to have to put up some boundaries, put up some, whatever it may be to keep yourself on track. Sometimes you got to say no. Sometimes you say yes, but sometimes you got to say no. And I want you to take ownership for when you break your boundaries. All right? When somebody gets you to break your boundary, why? What really happened there? Are you just blaming them because it's better to blame than blaming yourself? That's probably true too. But I want you to relax into your behaviors, keep your lane clear, and stay in your lane. So when you are going to set your alarm and going to go to the gym, you need to tell your partner, hey, I'm setting my alarm for this time. I'm getting up and I'm going to the gym, period. And then in the morning when he says, oh, don't make me, stay here with me, whatever, you need to say, no, I told you I'm getting up and I'm going to the gym. And then you need to get up and go to the gym. I know it can be tempting, or set your alarm 15 minutes early and there's your cuddle minutes. I don't know what it is, but you're responsible for getting your ass out of bed, getting your gym clothes on and getting out the door, right? I need you to set up parameters around your nutrition or around your social life or around your snacking, whatever it may be, and then stick to those things. Now, again, if you've listened to any previous episodes, I don't want you to be like, I'm never having any snacks in the house then. I'm going to create we're not having dinner or anything to eat after 7 p.m. So don't get, again, all crazy on the rules, but we do oftentimes have to create some rules or some parameters to keep you in check, right? And a lot of times, again, you're not necessarily living in isolation. I live alone and I still don't live in isolation, right? I have my family, I have my boyfriend, I have my coworkers, I have people that I go out for coffee and blah, blah, blah. But also I'm responsible for what I'm ordering, how often I'm ordering it, or how often I'm snacking, or what I go to the grocery store and buy and have in my home. So you do have a lot more choice and a lot more options, and I need you to look inward. And if you are a person who maybe you don't do the grocery shopping or you don't have a lot of control over what's put on the table, then I need you to communicate with whoever is feeding you and have that discussion. But again, you're responsible for you. I'm pretty sure I don't have any 12-year-olds listening to this podcast. Hopefully that might be weird. I don't know. Do 12-year-olds listening to podcasts? But if you're a child and your parent is just the one responsible for feeding you, obviously you're limited in choices, but you still have a little bit of autonomy. I'm sure we can figure something out. But for the most people who are probably listening to this, you at least have communication with the person who is shopping for the household or who is cooking most of your meals or whatever it may be, right? So I need you to have open and honest communications about that and stop blaming other people for your lack thereof. All right, there's your tough love. A quick one today. I just needed to get that out. I hope y'all had a happy Valentine's Day. Yes, this definitely was maybe inspired by that. But also, don't be afraid to enjoy food with your partner and enjoy ordering out and getting pizza and eating ice cream sundaes, whatever it may be, right? Especially if you're maybe newly dating, or you're trying to keep the romance alive and you're going out on dates every month, that is a healthy part of a relationship. And your health is multifaceted. It's not just the food that you're eating. It's also the relationships that you have and the quality time that you have. And we love food as humans. Food is more than just fuel. It's also how we bond and how we share culture and experiences with each other. So I also want you to take that into consideration. Do not just cut your spouse off or cut your partner or cut your friends off because you're trying to eat the perfect diet. That is not what we're doing here. We're choosing quality time with our friends, with our loved ones that is benefiting our health, even if it's eating something a little off plan. But you're doing so intentionally, not mindlessly, not just because it's a Thursday and everyone is going out after work, so you're going to go out after work. I need you to be a little more intentional about it. That's all I'm saying. So I hope this helped. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye. Thanks so much for being here, friends. If you enjoyed this episode, please screenshot and tag me over on Instagram or leave a 5-star review wherever you are listening from. Your support means the world to me and only helps me get the no BS news out to more people. If you're interested in working with me in nutrition or personal training, check out my programs and courses on my website at kaylamariefitness.com and on Instagram at kaylaMarie_fit. See you next week.